What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Chat HVAC. How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Chat HVAC, where we give you quick answers to your comfort questions. My name is Scott Jackson, and I am the senior technician at Comfort Solutions Heating and Cooling with 10 years of experience in the field. And the whole purpose of this show is to bring you, like we said at the beginning, quick answers to the questions that you have about your HVAC system. This podcast is aimed at homeowners. This is aimed at the consumers. This is not aimed at HVAC technicians, though they may enjoy the content as well. And if you do, that's great. But this show is all about you, the homeowner, the layperson, if you will, who doesn't really have a lot of knowledge about HVAC, but wants to know a little bit more. Now, if you caught our episodes from last 2 weeks, actually, you would have noticed that I was in my service truck over the last couple weeks. And, it got really, really cold here in Southwest Ohio. We're based in Cincinnati, Ohio, in the Cincinnati area, and it got really cold. We had a nice little Arctic blast come through, so I did not have the time to sit in our studio space like I am today. So I appreciate you bearing with us and the audio quality that was brought with that. So I appreciate you consuming the content anyway. And I hope that you found some enjoyment in those two videos that we put out, those two podcasts that we put out over the last couple weeks. Now, before we dive into our topic today, one thing I want to remind you of is just to go ahead and like the video, subscribe to the channel if you're watching on YouTube. If you're consuming this on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, go ahead and rate and review the show. Those things help us out tremendously. Really, truly. Boost us in the algorithm. It gets our message out in front of more people who need to hear it. And if you find any value in what we're doing here at Chat HVAC and it's provided value to you, we would encourage you to share it with others as well. Now, without further ado, we're not going to waste any time. Like I said, this is quick answers, so we're not going to sit here and waste an hour of your time. We like to get right to the meat. And today's topic is, the year is winding down. 2025 is coming to a close already, which seems kind of crazy, but it seems like the older I get, the faster these years go. But 2025 is coming to a close. And with the end of 2025 on the horizon, something else is also coming to a close, which is those federal 25C tax credits that have been available throughout this year. So if you don't know, the federal 25C tax credits that were available on the purchase of new heat pumps, new gas furnaces, new air conditioners. These things are energy efficient home improvement credits. So these credits are going to go away. They actually began in January 1st of 2023, I believe. And what it does is it's either 30% of the full project cost of the installation, or there's a cap of a credit on different appliances. We'll get into later how much each appliance qualifies for, how much heat pumps we'll get, how much gas furnaces we'll get, how much air conditioners we'll get, and so on and so forth. But sadly, these rebates are coming to a close. These credits rather are coming to a close December 31st, 2025. Now, that does not mean that if you purchase a system on December 31st, that you're not going to get it. So you just have to purchase the system before the end of the year. It does not necessarily have to be like fully installed and all that. We can kind of get into the nitty gritty of that later on. But the point is, you need to have a bill of sale before the end of 2025 to be able to claim those tax credits. Now, why am I bringing up tax credits today? Well, for one, they've been a big reason as to why people were looking at moving to higher efficient systems, and they were maybe considering those when they hadn't before. The credit made it a little bit easier to make that jump to a little bit more higher efficiency equipment. But the important thing is, and the reason why we're wanting to discuss this today is really truly just because it's coming to a close. Today, as we record this and as it's being released, is December 19th. So we don't have that much time left until the end of the year. And this is really a message to, if you're out there and you've been considering replacing your system, it's something that you need to do. It's just something that you've put off. And, if you're like me, you're like, well, we'll just do it later. If the tax credits are a big deal to you, and that is a big reason why you're wanting to, maybe consider the upgrade to higher efficiency equipment, better performing equipment for your home. Upgrading now, at least getting the bill of sale, getting the purchase in place, doing that now as opposed to at the beginning of 2026 would benefit you greatly because you would be able to file those tax credits when you file your taxes in the spring. A little bit of information about these 25C tax credits. What we're going to do is we're going to walk through each appliance and we're going to tell you how much they qualify for and what you can maybe get, what's the highest amount that you can get as far as your tax credits are concerned based on the different type of system that you get. So we're going to pull these up here real quick. Okay, so homeowners who purchase and install pretty much any of the following equipment that I'm going to list between 2023 and 2025 are now, because they're expiring in 2025, are available. They qualify for your federal 25C tax credit. So you got your air source heat pumps, both ducted and non-ducted. You might be asking, what is a non-ducted heat pump? That is a mini split. So that's the more commonly used term. But that would be a non-ducted or ductless system. They're heat pump systems. They do work the same way as your ducted heat pump systems do. So both mini splits and regular air source heat pumps, geothermal heat pumps also qualify for these tax credits. Central air conditioners, high efficiency gas, so natural gas or propane furnaces, oil furnaces, to my knowledge, do not apply for these federal 25C tax credits. Again, they're wanting to push you towards more fuel efficient, more energy efficient appliances. So fuel oil is unfortunately out of that discussion. You can also claim this credit on a gas or propane boiler, as well as some water heaters qualify for a $600 tax credit as well. So what are we looking at as far as what qualifies, what appliances qualify, what's the minimum efficiency requirements, what is the total project cost that's necessary? We are going to break that down for you here. Let's get this pulled up here for you. So this is going to break down the what appliance qualifies, how much they qualify for. I think this will be more helpful than me sitting here trying to explain this to you verbally. We're just going to let you see it. So we are going to share our screen here. Let's see, zoom in here. Okay, so as you can see here, and hopefully you're able to see it okay, we're going to start with our heat pumps here. So heat pumps, this is our air source heat pumps, geothermal heat pumps. We got split ducted, so that would be you have an outdoor unit and an indoor unit, or your non-ducted units. You still have an outdoor unit and an indoor unit. There's just no duct work. So these are your traditional mini splits that you'll see in your house, and these are your mini split systems that that you'll see. They got the white unit mounted to the wall, those kinds of things. So here is our product. We got our heat pumps, and this is the tax credit that it qualifies for. So we have a 30% of the total project cost up to $2,000. So what that means is the credit is 30% of the total project cost, so 30% of the installation cost, any cost that is incurred due to the installation of the system. But there is a cap on this tax credit at $2,000. So we have our regions here and our minimum efficiency requirements. We're going to be mainly looking at the SEER 2 ratings and the HSPF 2 ratings as well, or the COP at 5 degrees rating as well. So we got our regions here, north and south. Ohio, if you live in Ohio like we do and we operate here, we are in the north region of the United States. I think, as far as I'm aware, the break between north and south, I think, is south of Kentucky. If you're here in this part of the country, I could be wrong on that. Someone is able to fact check that for me. If I'm wrong, drop it in the comments and let everybody know the right answer. But you can see here our SEER 2 requirements are the same here. So anything greater than 15.2 SEER 2. A little bit here. I think I've talked about SEER and what that means in a previous video. If I have, I will go ahead and link that below as well. But SEER just stands for Seasonal Energy Efficiency Ratio, SEER, and then the 2 is just the revised energy efficiency ratio scale that we are using now, just based on different testing methods in the factory and things like that, to try to get it more accurate to real life real life situations and things like that. And then our HSPF2 is related to our heating efficiency for heat pumps. So it has to be greater than 8.1 in the north and greater than 7.8 in the south. Now, our COP at 5 degrees, this is basically how well is it going to perform when it's 5 degrees outside. So our rating here in the north has to be 1.75. There is no qualification in the south because you don't typically run into cold climates like we do up here in the north. So just to review, up to $2,000 available for heat pumps, both split ducted and non-ducted. And then those are our efficiency requirements for those. All right, moving on here to our air conditioners. A little bit less here for the air conditioners. What we're looking at here, again, up 30% of the total project cost up to $600. So that's the same for all of these. There is the 30% of the cost, and then there's a cap on the tax credit that you can get. So I'm just going to, for the sake of simplicity, I'm just going to talk about the cap, and because it's typically what everything qualifies for. So air conditioners here. We can see that this is split ACs. Now, you might be asking, why not the mini splits for air conditioners? Well, your non-ducted systems are typically mini splits by default. There are air conditioning only mini split systems. However, they're not as common. And if you're going to get a mini split, you might as well get one that can do heat as well. The cost difference really isn't that much. So we have our split ACs. That's our standard air conditioning and coil systems. Now, this applies through the whole country. No north or south qualifications, nothing like that. We have to have a minimum SEER 2 efficiency rating of greater than 16 SEER. And then your EER is just another efficiency rating scale. We're just going to be talking about SEER for the sake of simplicity today. Your minimum SEER efficiency requirement is greater than 16 SEER nationwide across the country. So you get a new air conditioner. As long as it's higher than 16 on the SEER 2 scale, then you are good to go and you qualify for that $600 federal 25C tax credit. Moving on to furnaces here, this is typically the other half of the system that you have if you have an air conditioner in your house. If you have a heat pump, you probably have an air handler down in the basement or in the attic or wherever you keep your indoor unit. But that's typically the most common. We can get into dual fuel systems here, but we're just going to go through the chart real quick. So gas furnaces, this is gas-fired. Propane also qualifies as well. But again, $600 federal 25C tax credit. This is nationwide. They have the minimum efficiency rating for gas furnaces that qualify for this rebate. We're looking at anything greater than 97% AFUE, which is essentially just your fuel efficiency. So as long as your gas furnace is over 97% efficient or higher, then you are good to go as far as that $600 tax credit. And just for the sake of explanation, if you've watched the show for any amount of time, Comfort Solutions is a Lennox dealer. We have been for well over 30 years at this point. Lennox offers, I believe they have a 97% efficient furnace. They used to have a 98% efficient, which just got upgraded to a 99% efficient gas furnace. It's an incredible product. I would encourage you to check it out if you're in the market for a new one. But yeah, the 97% efficient gas furnace is going to be your barrier there to qualify or not qualify for that $600 tax credit. Pressing on here, again, boilers, similar. We got a 95% efficient minimum efficiency requirement. These are gas-fired or propane boilers. This is nationwide. Qualifies for $600 in federal 25C tax credits. And then tankless water heaters. So gas-fired tankless water heaters nationwide with a minimum efficiency of a 0.95 UEF, which is just the efficiency for water heaters. We're looking at a $600 federal 25C tax credit. Now, how much can you get depending on the system that you have? So if we go with our standard air conditioner with a gas furnace system, that's probably the system that I see 75% of the time up here. We're looking at a $600 credit for the air conditioner, as long as it meets the SEER requirement, and a $600 credit for the furnace, so long as it meets the minimum efficiency requirement of 97% efficient. We're looking at a total of $1,200 between the two. Now, you may be asking, Scott, I have a heat pump, but I also have a furnace. You have what's called a dual fuel system. Those are great systems. It's actually a system that is a nice happy medium between transitioning to this heat pump technology and also keeping the high efficiency comforts that natural gas forced air heat can afford you. But We have a heat pump. As long as it meets our minimum efficiency requirements, and I'm only using the north because it has higher requirements and that's where I live. As long as it meets our minimum efficiency requirements, we'll qualify for $2,000 for the heat pump alone. Now, again, obviously that's because there's some incentive to move towards heat pump technology. That's where the industry is moving. But say you also have a furnace and you get a new furnace that has our 97% efficient minimum efficiency requirement. You also get $600 for that. So you can get a total of $2,000 plus $600. You're looking at a total of $2,600 in credits. And if you also happen to install a tankless water heater with that system to replace your traditional water heater that you have, you can get another $600, and you would be looking at a total of $3,200 in total credits. So there is a disclaimer here. It says the 25C tax credit has an annual cap of $1,200 excluding heat pumps. Okay, so that would be just if you're doing air conditioners and furnaces, that $1,200 that you would qualify for would cap you out. You would not be able to claim also $600 on a tankless water heater, unless you're replacing an air conditioner with a heat pump. You get that $2,000 credit. You also get the $600 credit with the gas furnace. You're at $2,600, and then you can add that tankless water heater on there for a total of $3,200 in total tax credits available. So I hope that was beneficial for you. This was a real quick, real kind of just, again, quick and simple, straightforward deep dive into what the 25C tax credits are, when they expire, and how much you can get based on what appliance you're going to have installed in your home. So again, I hope this episode was helpful. I hope it answered some questions, and I hope, if you're on the fence of getting a system replaced or not, and you're looking at a system that meets these minimum efficiency requirements for either an air conditioner, a gas furnace, a heat pump, or whatever you're putting in, I hope that this gave you the information that you need to be able to give you some clarity on what do these tax credits mean, what do I even qualify for, and so on and so forth. So we certainly appreciate you all watching and listening today. This is going to conclude today's episode of Chat HVAC. We would love it if you would share this episode with somebody who's maybe considering a system replacement or wants some information on these federal 25C tax credits. And maybe you're not even considering an HVAC system replacement, but you're looking at getting a new water heater or something like that. I would encourage you to look at this episode as well. Share it with a friend who might need it. And again, like and subscribe to the channel. We want to grow this channel to 100 subscribers. That's our first goal here. And we are well on our way to being about halfway there. So we would certainly appreciate you all sharing the show, sharing the channel. If you're watching on Spotify or listening on Apple Podcasts, rate and review the show. We would certainly appreciate it. And if you've just recently upgraded your system, but you're a little bit confused about what you need to file these tax credits, leave a comment below. We'll try to get with you and provide some more information to you. Well, that being said, that's going to conclude today's episode. Again, we certainly appreciate you all watching and listening, and we will see you next week.